Now, was there an earlier incarnation of the Punk Museum?
Well, it wasn't exactly the same thing. It was a couple of display cases that were in Exene's store in You've Got Bad Taste, which was her store on Silver Lake Boulevard.
Right,
Silver
right,
Lake,
right. I remember
down
that.
in, yeah, down in Silver Lake. You know, very shishi foo foo fun. Really weird stuff that she was selling. And so she had these two display cases, and she had like some things from Darby and some things from early X in there. When she left, those two cases went to a guy named Tracy. And Tracy really didn't have a good idea, a good attitude towards how he was going to present punk rock. It was like still in the garbage, in the gutter, in the backyards, in the slums with lots of spray paint. And I kind of like punk as Disneyland. Because for me, it was like Disneyland. It's like everywhere you went was like a wild ride. So I didn't want punk to be looked at as just like another dirty secret that we used to have when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I decided to do it as an art project and bring together all the artists that I knew from the 1980s, because I used to work as one of the co-curators of the Zero Gallery, which of course I never got paid for, but I did spend 32 years learning my craft as a person who curates an art gallery. So I kept all those connections over the years, and now I'm using them in this show. So, like in the shows that I've been doing, it's like our photographer Ed Culver, Brian Tucker's like cargo size art of like skinheads getting their heads busted open, and mentors videos, pictures of the mentors, and paintings, and also all kinds of media that's involved with that, like posters, flyers, stickers within the same artwork, so that it's a multi-dimensional textured piece of art that's like wall size. Lots of wall size pieces. Drew Bernstein, who now runs Lip Service, he's a multi-millionaire. We have him naked in a garter belt from when he was a young punk rocker.
Wow.
We have Iris Berry, the writer, naked as a jaybird, as a beautiful piece of art. We have the Mau Mau's singing. We have Fear singing. These are the wall-size pieces. That's the museum part,
cool.
because you can't sell something that's like that. Those are one of a kind, and they shouldn't be sold. They should be museum pieces.
Yeah, yeah.
Then within the gallery, I have like Ed Culver. I have Thomas Sonic, who shot like Steve Jones. Mary died of cancer from 45 Grave. MIA, the Vandals, along those lines. Then I have Johnny Rotten's favorite cartoonist, whose name is David Worth. He has punk rock cartoons in England. I have Bruce Kalberg, who actually murdered his best friend and then died a little bit long later, but still his work is very valuable because he did No Magazine, which was the answer to Slash magazine that was more severe than Slash back in the late 70s, like 77, 78, 79. So we have pictures of Texacala Jones, Texas Terry, Cheetah Chrome, who was in the Dead Boys,
Dead
as
Boys,
well as,
of course.
yes, as well as the Cramps. We have pictures of Leaving from Fear, like giant portraits that go for $6.50 each.
I love living in the city.
We have wall-size lithographs of Richard Duardo, who is a world-famous artist, that go for $8,000. Like originally, we were trying to keep it punk rock prices, $1 to $1,000. But then this piece, you know, the stuff from the Screamers is worth $8,000,
Oh, wow.
so it has to be in the show. I have prints from Robert Williams, who was Captain Robert Williams, who was with Zap Comic Book back in the day and is now one of the most expensive comic book-esque art people. And he also invented and is the head of Juxtapose magazine now. And he's been a dear friend of mine for the last 35 years. And Anthony Osgang, who's really amazing artist, who's been, I mean, all these people I've known and curated in shows in the past or gone to see their art and respect them. And I keep my eye open for new old artists and old catalogs of art, because I'm trying to keep the parameters between 74 and 84 when punk was really punk. And after that it becomes way post-punk. Really, punk was dead in 81. But PIL like was the extension of that after that. That's post-punk. As
Yeah.
soon as the Sex Pistols died, post-punk began.
Right. Right.
So that's how I see it. So the museum is all about all those things, and there's art pieces in there. Ivy Nay, who was the style editor of the LA Times for 10 years, did little punk rocks with like little mohawks, smoking cigarettes with like safety pins in their ears, and lots of portraits she took of Johnny Rotten when he played at the Olympic Auditorium, May 4th, 1980. And there's tons of posters in there from Hollywood Book and Poster of the Jam and Prodigy and stuff along those lines. So there's just tons of. There's always more coming in. There's always book signings. I had Martin Atkins from Public Image come in, talk about Killing Joke, Ministry, and PIL and China, and show all the footage that he wanted to in a 2-hour dissertation on rock and roll. So I'm trying to be very magnanimous and all over the board, and but more academia, because like
Sure. Yeah.
we actually do shows at like UCLA, and on Sundays I do the farmers market in Hollywood at Cahuenga Corridor. And I just want to make sure punk is seen, because punk was treated like something dirty and ugly and to be hid away, and a lot of us did a lot of good things. The Chili Peppers were part of my camp. I mean, X was part of my camp. Tool was part of my camp. Those were all the people that I brought up. They all did very well. Not that my phone rings. Exene's good with me. Nina Hagen. I mean, all these people, we all grew up together. So, you know, the book is coming out soon, too, and it's called Rock and Roll Nigger. So I hope you'll go out and get it.
Sounds good. Sounds good.